Three takeaways for Atlanta United's 2-1 loss to Inter Miami here on Sunday night at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Sydney and Henry with you as we Henry, reflect on the loss for Atlanta United. That's now 3 matches in a row without a win. Tough one. And maybe let's just get into takeaway number one. It's the good news. Rex Atlanta returning to the starting 11. And not only that, getting an assist. Well-timed pass to Latte Lath, who had to in the back of the net, putting Brooks, I think it's 1 goal away from the all-time assist record for Atlanta United. I believe that is. But yeah, good to see Brooks back out there. Not only back out there, Henry, but playing all 90 minutes. I know that's a question that we had coming off that shoulder surgery, I'm trying to say. But he got out, and again, a really good really good assist to Latte Lath. Really well-worked goal, and a good performance from Brooks. After his first time back on the pitch after getting surgery.
Yeah, he ties the all-time assist record for Atlanta United, ties Julian Gressel. And he was very disappointed that he didn't get to break it with that other goal that got called off. So he was a little upset at that. But, yeah, he said he was happy to be out there, obviously, gutted for the result. But that, he felt good and that he didn't have any like hard challenges on that shoulder or anything. He didn't have any issues with the shoulder at all during the game. So that is a relief for Atlanta United, who is going into the next game with a rather depleted roster. So yeah, I mean, look, it's always good to have him. He's a player that you could really depend on, and he feels very at home in this Ronnie Deila system. He's all about making those overlaps. He's used to it. He's used to doing that kind of stuff. So it's good to have him there, a player that really understands how this team wants to play. And we'll see what they can do against Cincinnati, because he's going to be one of the fundamentally important pieces of this team in that game. Also, the other side of that, Latte Lath with his third goal of the season. It's good for him to get that confidence. And again, this is a headed goal, one that he scored. He also scored a header in that Montreal game. We still haven't seen the Latte Lath takes off and 1v1 against the keeper goal that I think we were sold on when Latte Lath was first announced for this team. That was the idea, through ball into him. We still haven't seen that, and it's been 4 games. So we'll see. I'm sure once the tactics are fully fleshed out, and I know people don't want to hear that, but once the team is more acclimated to these tactics, and once Ronnie Deila has been able to really, really get into them, that will come.
Well, again, good news is that Latte Lath scored. Again, that weight is off his back. Maybe that leads to a floodgate of goals opening up for him. We'll have to hope, but unfortunately, it comes to a losing result. Could have had a brace, but again, like you said, that second goal call offside, kind of a tight offside, but it was the right call by the assistant referee. Takeaway number 2. Let's talk about the goals that Inter Miami gave up. I was talking to Derek Williams. I had a chance to ask him, or he spoke about it. I didn't necessarily have a chance to ask him, but he spoke about the goals that were given up, and they're cheap goals. First half, Messi scores. Just a very sloppy decision, very poor decision by Bartek Sliš. Ball on top of the box, just clear it. Get it out of danger instead. Tries to get too fancy, and Messi pounces on it and does what Messi does. Second goal, maybe Guzan and Williams get a little crossed up. I think that's what Williams was saying. He should have cleared it in the moment, but they get kind of, again, crossed up. A little bit of miscommunication right in front of the goal, and Fafa Picault scores what is ultimately the match winner. So when you look at it, Atlanta United, and Ronnie Deila said this, didn't concede a ton of chances, but the chances they gave up were really poor, and they should have been giving them up ultimately.
I feel like I was commenting with Tyler the whole game. Like, Atlanta has a tendency to just give up some stupid goals against Inter Miami.
Yeah.
It happened, in the playoffs. It happened in the regular season last season. It was just some really silly goals that they really shouldn't have been conceding, and these goals were no exception. I was talking with a few folks, and from my point of view, this team's just, the decision making is just off. Plays where they just need to get it out of there. When in doubt, blast it out. and they're being too cutesy with it, and you can't do that when you have the best player in the history of the game on the field pressuring you. Uh, yeah, and then plays where they did have some time and they didn't have to make these frantic decisions. They were kicking it out for corners. They were just blasting it wherever. And I feel like after that first goal that Miami scored, kind of the PTSD came back, and they're like, okay, I'd rather just not risk it at all. And that, like, you can't go to the other extreme. I understand that, but still. Talking with Derek, he said he really didn't see the first goal. He'd have to watch it back. On the second goal, he did say that it was kind of just like a miscommunication with Brad. Uh, he thought that Brad was getting to it, that he was going to get to it, and Brad just didn't really see it until the end. I think on that play, it was like Latte Lath was kind of in the way of Brad being able to really see the header coming down, and by the time he did catch, well, see that ball, it was too late. It was already bouncing into the net. So yeah, just two very unfortunate goals to concede for Atlanta United. Kind of feels like bits of last season. I know that's a narrative that no one wants to hear, but the mental mistakes and the errors there are just, it's just tough to see for players that really should know better, should be a little bit wiser in that sense. And I think that's part of the mental aspect that Ronnie Dowell has been talking about for a while. So we have to see some development in that regard. And the big challenge is going to be, how do you get that across when, this week you're going to be missing like half the squad due to international call ups. So I guess we'll see where that goes, but I don't expect anything in the short term, largely because of those absences.
Yeah, that's the big point we'll have to look at. How does Atlanta United match up against FC Cincinnati on Saturday? Then K will be missing for Cincinnati, so maybe a bit of good news for Atlanta United. Bad news is because I had so many players from Atlanta's ranks missing due to international duty. Takeaway number 3 is the point that we were kind of talking about beforehand. Sort of the quality of opponents that Atlanta United have played over the past 4 matches, or the first 4 matches of the season. Montreal, you can kind of throw them out because it looks like they're going to struggle in 2025. But look at Charlotte, who has really acquitted themselves very well in the early going. It looked like they're going to be a top 4 team. Red Bulls went away from MLS Cup last season. Miami's Miami. So I definitely agree with what you're saying about that. That being said, sort of the counterpoint to that is, if Atlanta United want to be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference, these are matches that they should be winning. We've talked about it so many times. The Club World Cup break coming up in the summer gives Atlanta a very small margin of error when it comes to home matches. They have to get as many points as possible at home because this is a team that has traditionally struggled away. And now here's an opportunity to maybe at least get 8 points from Miami, which would have been a good point, I guess, considering the way the match went. But now you settle for no points, and now coupled with Red Bulls, that's 1 point out of a possible 6. So it is early, but yes, the level of quality of Atlanta's opponents has been high. But again, they have to win these matches if they're to be among the MLS elite.
It's really unfortunate for Atlanta that, first of all, the first part of their schedule is very home heavy. But second of all, the fact that they've got so many quality opponents within their first few games. If you throw Montreal out, like you said, Charlotte, a team that we expect to be in the top 4. Red Bulls, a team that got all the way to MLS Cup last year. Enter Miami. Don't have to say anything about them. Yeah. They're class. And then next week you're going on the road to Cincinnati, who most of us picked to finish top of the East. And then after that,
NYCFC.
And it's NYCFC, who, I haven't really had a chance to see their games, but they've been decent. They haven't been an easy side. Point is, I understand people don't want the excuses of, this is a team that they invested $50 million in the attack for. They should be crushing everyone. Yes, I understand that argument, but at the same time, it's the level of the opponents that makes this super, super challenging. And I think, if this team were facing this gauntlet come June or July, mid-season, when the players are kind of fully into into the groove of things, especially under a new coach. That's who's trying to push relatively new tactics and kind of his own vision on this team. I think that these results go a little bit differently because I feel like there's still remnants of the bad habits of last season and seasons before that. Ronnie Dowell is still kind of trying to kind of switch those chips out in a sense, and it's unfortunate that this first part of games has been against these opponents. That's really
Yeah.
it. You have such challenging opposition in the first part of the season. You can't really expect. I mean, it to be in a cakewalk.
Right.
So that's the thing, and I think as the season goes on, you're going to see this team kind of uh, go towards the mean a little bit more. It's definitely not going to be ninth in the East this season. I don't think.
Right.
It's just a matter of waiting things out, letting the tactics settle, and letting Ronnie Dyla cook. And I know again that's not what fans want to hear, but that's just the way things go.
No, I agree, and that being said, they have to start taking steps right away as soon as Saturday against Cincinnati. Yes, they're missing players, but that's a away match, and at least if you can, I feel like if you can get a result against Cincinnati, considering who they're missing and who Atlanta United are missing, that'll be a good first step. With NYCFC coming in here in a couple of weeks tonight, though, Atlanta United losing 2-1 to Inter Miami here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Sunday Night Soccer. Thanks as always to our partner, Sweetwater Brewery, sweetwaterbrew.com for more information on their brews and ales and more information on the Sweetwater 420 Fest coming up April 18th through the 20th at Plymouth Yards here in Atlanta. ScarvesandSpecs.com for all the latest Atlanta United news, analysis, and opinion. Follow us on social, like, subscribe, share our content. Definitely does help us out a lot. And again, thanks again to the Sweetwater or the Signia by Hilton Atlanta and Nest on Shore for hosting our pre-match show earlier today. So, Henry with you. We'll see you next time.